Hello and welcome to this session from Project in a Box. I'm Malcolm West. So here we're going to be talking about project management methodology, simplified, and why that's okay to simplify it most of the time. So this is often the sort of picture that greets us when we look in the mirror, we're thinking about our methodology. Often methodologies can be too complex for the projects we're trying to apply them to. They're difficult to understand, very opaque, they use particular language, and basically they're just boring to use. By and large, that's the case. So let's understand why that might be. Let's just dig a bit deeper, and let's do that by thinking about the projects that our organisations might run. So here we've got a project complexity axis, we've got a number of projects axis, and by and large most organisations will have some sort of distribution of projects like that. They'll have some very complex projects, they'll have some very simple projects, and have a lot of projects somewhere in the middle. Now, what's normally happened when people start to think about applying or creating structured project management methodologies is that they start thinking about the projects at the very top end. These are often the projects that have a big impact on the organisation. When they go wrong, they're often the things that people start thinking about when they say, oh, we need to really improve our treatment of projects, let's put a structure in place, and they start to think of things like the standard off-the-shelf planned methods like Prince2 and PMBOK fit that space really nicely. Very structured, very complex project environments for very well trained and experienced project managers. Now the problem is when you start to apply those to the rest of the projects in the organisation, that's when problems start to occur, because people are trying to apply very complex methods to simpler projects. They're overkilling it with extra documentation and structure that isn't really required for a project of that type, or they're trying to tailor it to meet the smaller projects, and that's something they don't have the skills to do. Often the same sort of thing happens in Agile, actually. A bit less the case, but pretty much the same idea. Designed really for complex project environments, and often tried to be applied too much to smaller project environments where people don't have the skills to use it properly. So, an observation: complexity requires high coordination. PM effort is a small proportion of the project at this end, and setup is a small proportion of the project. When we start to come down to this end, we actually require any extra effort to customize for the lighter type of projects, and the project management setup and the project management effort is a much larger proportion of the project, and that's where problems really start to occur. So let's just deconstruct this a little bit further. So what is a project management methodology? What are we trying to do with projects? Well, firstly, we're trying to identify what is required. What are we trying to produce as part of this project exercise? We need to do what is required, and we need to check to make sure that we met the requirement. Were the outputs acceptable to the people we were producing them for? That's as simple as we can identify a project to be. And sometimes, of course, projects are more complicated than that, and more complex projects look like this. We may break down the complexity of what we're doing into a number of steps and repeat those. By and large, most organisations will recognise this sort of project process and observation. This is uncontroversial. It's easy to understand, and generally an idea as simple as this requires no training. So, that's what we have done. We've put together what we call the three-step project management process. It uses a start, a deliver, and a close process. Nice and straightforward, aimed at a single deliverable and with a low element of direction. So for your uncontroversial projects where you're doing lots of them and you require them to be set up and managed quite easily. We've also set up a four-step project, and this one uses multiple work packages within delivery, so we can have start, deliver the next set, deliver the next set, deliver the next set, etc. Close. Again, relatively low direction, but multiple deliverables. Then we have our five-step method. You can see a trend developing here, which has roughly the same sort of idea. Start, set up your stage, as we call them here, repeat your stages of deliverable and close them, and we have more direction. So we have a separate direction process where managers can come in and see, observe what's going on with the project and see all the coordination information about the direction. Now at the far end we have a one-step process as well. This is for something that we're not really treating as a project. Once we come below this start, deliver, close idea, we think it no longer really is a project, but organisations are jam-packed full of things that people need to be able to do. Just do. It's just a task, it just needs to be done, we know what it is, and we just want it done. And so a very basic process with the documentation to deal with that. And these all sit within a family, so we've provided a unified structure. People who have used one will be able to very clearly see how to use the next one. They all provided with templates, placeholders for things that you need to collect as you progress through, help and hints and tips about what you're supposed to do and who's responsible for doing the various bits. And of course, if you want to, you can personalize these and customize them to match your organization's requirements. Very nice and straightforward. And that's the delight of something like this. It's pre-scaled, so you don't have to do all the work of identifying which bit goes where. So you get an 80-20 result. 80% of the governance for 20% of the effort. And it's the help for those that need it the most. So if you're having to start a new project, you don't have to start with Prince2 or PMBOK and identify which particular little bits you need for your project. You come to one of these methods nice and easily. It's got everything that's appropriate for a project of that type. So let's come back to our distribution of projects in the organisation. So we've talked a little bit about our complex environments, and we can see then how the rest of these are going to fit in. Our 5 steps going to handle things that are getting up towards that sort of complexity. Our 4 steps going to handle things, in the core of our organisation. 3 step coming down all the way to the bottom here, and then actually what we find is that rather than thinking about projects, this is the sort of way the curve might extend if we thought about just projects. We get down to very low complexity things. Well, we haven't really got many things that are very low complexity that we want to run as a project, but we've got an awful lot of them that we want to just do. So our single deliverable, single step process then starts to encompass an awful lot of things that people just say, well, just get it done, it's not really a project, just do it. And so that's where our 1-step framework comes in. Now, as we're going to say at the very beginning of the slide, sometimes this isn't always the case. In our complex environment, we can't just get away with simplified methodologies. We do need something that addresses the real complexity of projects up at this end. So we're looking at planned methods, Prince2 and PMBOK, for example. And again, we support the full Prince licensed product. We have that available. And also agile methods like DSDM Turn and Scrum. And again, we have the full DSDM Turn model available. So this is a family of methods which allows you to address all the project management needs within your organization and beyond that, also down to the sort of task management level within your organization. And we provide a way of dealing with that and delivering that for you, which is to provide some tools. So we have here our Community Edition. It has all the methods we've just been talking about pre-built into it. It's completely free, so you can install it onto your local machine, and as you press the button to create a new project, it'll ask you which type. You select a 3-step, it puts in place a 3-step, it gives you the documents that you need and the files that you need, the templates you need. You can version control them from here. You can add in extra content, emails and notes of meetings and links to websites that help you document that project as you go through the steps, and as you progress through each step it shows you the things that are relevant. Very straightforward. You can build 3,000 3 steps, 2,000 5 steps. You can put in whatever projects you want into there. As part of that tool, it also includes our planner, which provides plan, risk and issue management if you want to be a little bit more sophisticated about how you're collecting this sort of data. Now that's the sort of tool set for our next observation, which is available for free, so everybody can just get on and do this sort of thing now. There's no excuse why you can't do it now. It's all there, set up, ready for you to go. If you want to do this as an organisation, you can buy our commercial products, and these will allow you to customize and personalize these methods, and that's all of these methods, the standard Prince2 and Agile, as well as our range of generic stepped methods, to match your own organization's requirements. So you can put in your tools, your language, your templates, you can change the processes around, and you'll have that. And many of our customers, small and large, use our standard frameworks of this type to support their full range of projects across their organisation. And of course, once you have them in our commercial tools, you can interlink all that data, you can bring it all together for reporting, you can do resource profiles, you can do all that sort of stuff. But it's based on the fundamental premise that people need methodologies to deliver their projects, and they need appropriate methodologies to deliver their projects. So that was me and the end of that presentation. You'll see here some boxes that allow you to click to see the next presentation in the series, which really goes into looking at Community Edition and Planner and how you can use those and looking around some of these methods for real, and also a box that takes you on to looking at our commercial products as well if you're interested in doing that. Thank you very much.